AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because she wouldn't give me any money and called me a burden? Quote, am I the asshole? Party_ferret 6280. NTASHE pretty much kicked you when you were down after you had helped her get up when she was down. You found out the hard way where you stand with her. Now that she's getting married, she's probably looking at you for the gifts she can expect from said wedding and the wedding shower. That'd be a hard no in my book. It's not revenge in my opinion. It's called self-respect. Love Beach 8, 6579. NTA. It wasn't about returning the money. It was a refusal to help you out. It was an awful thing to do. less_ordinary_8516. 1524. Not the fucking asshole. You have a right to decline any invitation. She declined your request, but yelled when you declined her invitation. I am happy you are back on your feet. Anika Durang. 582. NTA 1. She didn't help you after you helped her so much and didn't ask for anything in return too. She yelled. Not you 3. Your stance is perfectly reasonable. Review Oak 929. 523. 3. NTA. She showed you what kind of person she is when it mattered most. You don't need her in your life. One-sided relationship are not worth the emotional bandwidth. Northern lit up. 270. Nope. NTA. This makes me so angry for you. I have a similar experience with my golden child younger brother. I have a brother who I thought I was close to and helped whenever I could. Tutored him in HS and college. Sent him money, etc. When he graduated from college, he moved back in with my parents until he got a job that he could support himself with. I have been completely independent since I graduated HS. I have never asked my parents or siblings for money or any kind of financial help. I never held anything against him. Spent time together, and included him in events. About 6 months after I had my second daughter, my husband got laid off. He was actively looking for work and was having a hard time finding anything for over a year. This was in roughly 2010. So the job market was not very good. My cousin was getting married in the city. I was a bridesmaid. My brother was driving downstate to a nearby town that was a $3 train away from the city. I asked if I could ride with him to said town so I could take the train to the city, and he lit me up. He called me a mooch. Said all I did was take. I was a burden. That my husband's parents were supporting us and we never had to work for anything. None of this was true. Yes. We rented a house from them, but we paid fair market value. Paid all the utilities. And maintained the property. We did not receive any money or handouts from them at all. We got fees if we were late with rent. And we signed a standard lease agreement like we had for any other place we had rented. When he got married, my 3 other brothers, I am the only girl, were groomsmen. The bride's brother had a role in the wedding, but I was just a guest. Needless to say, I was hurt, but I never said anything to him. I have 2 kids, 17F and 13F. He has never sent gifts or even acknowledged them for birthdays or holidays. Fast forward. He is salty that I have not sent gifts to his kids. I have a home embroidery business. He mailed me stockings and said I needed to embroider their names on them for him. My mother shames me for not sending gifts when I say, that's not the relationship we have. I once asked her when the last time he acknowledged my family, and she said I was being ugly. The golden child of a narcissist is never wrong and could do nothing wrong. Understand you are on this earth to make their life better, or walk away from that toxicity. It's hard but worth it. My point is, sometimes there is literally nothing you can do. No lengths you can go to. No amount of gifts or help you could provide, and somehow you will be the problem. Exact Potato 9059. 43. 3. NTA. Where were all of these opinionated people at when she needed help and you fully supported her? Where were they when you needed help? K.R. Gilbert 1414. 32. AITA for telling my family to shut up, get over themselves and to accept that I never wanted my son to have the names they like? Am I the asshole? Upset pic 7442. NTA. You tried being polite and it didn't work. Clearly you did. In fact, need to be rude to get them to back off. Honestly, I don't even understand their complaint. Callum definitely has an old school vibe to it. Molten_dragon. 509. NTA. You and your wife are the only two people who get to pick your son's name. If you family can't accept and use Callum's name, then tell them they won't have a relationship with him. Personally, I would make this my hill to die on. Quote, Comfortable C 2454. 801. You've damned yourself, Jamie. Damned yourself. SKPPT. 199. What the hell is wrong with your family? First, their names are so old-fashioned. Talking to them I'd feel like I was in a BBC period piece. But apparently that's what they like, and so those are the names they've used. Second, they know you changed your name. Thank God. And so they should have been preparing for this moment since then. Why would you burden your son with the kind of name that you hated? They knew it was going to happen and they've been badgering you anyway. That's not right. It's your child. They have no right to argue with your choice of names. Maybe you will start a trend. I can't believe all your cousins love those names either. They're just too afraid to speak up. It's also not right that they hassled your wife right after giving birth. But it sounds like she was expecting it anyway. It seems like no matter how much you abuse them, they're gonna come back. So I doubt you alienated them. Your response to them during that last visit should have been, well, you don't have to be so rude as to keep bringing up a subject that I've told you was closed. NTA. And I don't think you went too far. I mean, how many times do you have to say no before they will take it as your final answer? Probably a couple more. Congratulations on the birth of your son Callum. Pure Relationship 125. 3413. NTA greater than they could not bring themselves to accept this and that I should really consider why they love the names they do. We really can't accept that you and your wife gave your child a name you love. You need to consider that you wrong and only the names we love matter. Tell your family they have two choices. They can either stop acting like they have any right to insult your son's name, or they can just never see him again. And Callum is a perfectly lovely name. Buttercup Grump. 145. Bro, you had to grow up being called Herbert. That should be considered child abuse. Lol. All those names are terrible. Callum is a good name. XA0, you did have to go to that point with family. They're just mad BC they thought they could bully you. XA0, why are they so fixated on those god-awful names? Quote, Armadillo_mission. 331. In Ta, just because a name isn't the norm for them doesn't mean it doesn't have a lot of history and isn't classic. He's your son, they don't get a vote. Unless you're a British aristocrat, your son is fine. Mammoth Platypus 1601. 61. AITA for not wanting to walk her down the aisle or lie in a speech. Am I the asshole? Greatest Throwman. NTA. XA0, you have your boundaries. Abby sounds like she's developed this fantasy involving you and your family. That can't be healthy. XA0 and yelling at you. You will tell people you love me. You will tell people I am your second daughter. You will have a good time at my wedding. Quote, Fuzzy Mom 2005. 6833. NTA. Abai can't force the relationship she missed out on as she was growing up, and that's what she is trying to do. Do not cave to her. Lunar Eclipse 0204. 886. In Ta. There are obviously several red flags Abby which John has chosen to ignore. However, it's unfair of him to expect that you and the rest of your family should be required to cater to her irrational whims and behavior. Abby is obviously manipulative, likes being the center of attention, and feels entitled to have everything her way. The only way to deal with people like her is to set boundaries and stick to them. Otherwise, Abby will walk all over you and your family. Disdainful side eye. 268. NTA. Abby needs therapy. She is clearly starved for some kind of family. Desperate enough to try to infiltrate yours and oblivious of boundaries. I don't feel good about John marrying her. She sounds pretty unstable. Not the mom of 4208. 203. She yelled she's my daughter too. Abby sounds seriously unhinged. I understand her wanting a family, but she's trying to force relationships that are not there. She's not letting them develop naturally. Normally, if your son is supporting this, he is not helping her. She's going to cause resentment and distance between herself and your family and then cry to John about how mean you all are. You are NTA for not wanting to go along with her delusions. Good luck dealing with her in your family. If she doesn't see anything wrong with her pushing and manipulating, this will never end. Glimmerseeker. 60. NTA, the girl needs therapy, not a marriage. She sounds unhinged. You may want to have a conversation with your son about delaying any wedding until he's sure that she's marrying him for the right reasons. It appears that her real focus is on acquiring a family versus a husband. Comprehensive put 5569. 35. She sounds like she has abandonment issues with her own family. Your son is her white knight who is going to give her the family fantasy she has always wanted. He is buying into that. But truthfully, she sounds like a whole lot of messed up that someone qualified needs to diagnose and help. It's above your pay grade and you should be forced to be uncomfortable to make her happy. NTA. Jackrabbits forever. 57. AITA for not giving my sister any of my money even though I am in a significantly better financial situation? Am I the asshole? Samaita throw RA. You have no moral obligation to give her money, as I understood it. You and your husband had children after you already had a good financial situation. And the same applies to the decision of being a Som. Your sister, her husband, on the other hand, knew that they didn't make a lot of money on a single teacher paycheck. Plus, it's her decision to stay at home instead of working. They opted for a lower income lifestyle and had children anyway. Having children is expensive, and they knew that, so she has no right to demand money from you. She's jealous. That's all. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you paying for some swim lessons or whatever for their children. OFC. But it's your choice. There's absolutely nothing wrong with not doing it either. And it definitely doesn't make you an NTA. Am I the judge? 2966. NTA. Even assuming not all of her pregnancies were planned, they still could have taken measures to prevent having 3 kids on a teacher's salary if they wanted to be able to afford things more easily. Their life choices aren't your problem. Fun bodybuilder 4620. 684. NTA, she asked if I could give it to her. That's a hard no from me. She's got no business trying to guilt trip or embarrass you. Your husband also makes a good point. She could work if she wanted. It sucks that educators aren't valued more, paid better, but that's not your fault either. I hope your mobility continues to improve. All the very best to you. Edit spelling. Apart AD 6518. 256. NTA except for discussing your allowance with her. The fact and the amount are none of her business. You should be subsidizing your sister. It's not that they're in desperate need. It's just that she'd like to have more. Their financial circumstances follow from their choices. Her husband pursued the satisfaction of teaching over something that pays better. She chose the satisfaction of staying home instead of working. They both chose to have 3 children. Choices have consequences. She was satisfied with those choices until she compared herself to you. If she's no longer content, a paying job would bring in more than your allowance. Extinct_Diplodocus 178. Greater than I didn't even think to invite her and Jackson's son because then she wouldn't have to pay for daycare. She's a Psalm, why does she need to pay for daycare? Quote, by the Brook 88. 516. NTA. You have no obligation to support someone else's family. They didn't have to bring children into the world that they cannot afford. Question. Does your sister have an education? Can she work if she chose? If not, she could be using this TME and plenty of financial aid to get an education or trade and work when the kids are all school-aged. You should not have to make up for her and her husband's bad planning. Proud Geek 1019. 57. 7. NTA bring ASAHP is a luxury. XA0 Not everyone can afford to have a parent be a SAHP. XA0 If your sister is unhappy with her financial situation, she and her husband should look for ways to increase their household income. XA0 She has no right to demand yours and your husband's money. Teresa J.S. 113.